Hey, I am back. I've been struggling with content, if you couldn't tell from the fucking 5-day gap since my last video, but I've been playing a lot of Xenoblade 2 recently. I've been getting back into playing Xenoblade and I love it. I fucking love this game. I miss it so much. It's so nostalgic. But since I covered the dumbest and most stupid Xenoblade fan theory of all time, I decided, fuck it, why not just cover the least stupid Xenoblade fan theory of all time? Kind of to just finish it out, the most dumb and the least dumb, and I'm just struggling on content. But yeah, the least dumb, or like my favorite Xenoblade fan theory, was that Alvis is Ontos. It was so not stupid that it came true, that it was actually real. So I still don't understand how people didn't believe it, especially after DE dropped, but before that I can kind of see the skepticism. So Alvis is definitely one of my favorite Xenoblade characters of all time, and Future Redeem really shot him up there into my like top 10 list. Alvis is an amazing character. I love Alvis, the whole concept of the Ontos core, everything. Alvis has easily become one of my favorite characters. But the whole theory about how Alvis was Ontos this whole time is just so wild to look back on in hindsight, now that we know it's true and it was confirmed in Future Redeemed. Looking back on it, it's just like, what? Whoa. So I don't really know where the theory started, since I didn't look too far into the details of it, and a lot of stuff I don't remember, but I think it was at the end of Xenoblade 1 when Alvis was the green emerald color, the Numa color. Maybe that was hinting, I doubt, but he was there, he was talking to Shulk about, oh, he's a computer and all of that. And then, I mean, we literally saw Klaus in the Radamanthus first low orbit space station, what was it called? First low orbit station. Use the Zohar to do the fucking experiment, reset the universe, da-da-da-da. And Alvis literally said he's just a computer from a different dimension, not a different dimension, but he did like some phase transition event or whatever. And so we went off of that. Well, first it was because of Xenoblade 2 and we learned about the whole like Trinity processor, and then people went back to Xenoblade 1 and was like, oh, maybe Alvis is the third Ontos core that triggered the phase transition event. It just matched up, okay? It matched up. It made a whole lot of sense. And I mean, kind of understandable that people were skeptical, but at the same time, during that whole thing when we were learning about the Trinity processor and the Ontos core leaving, is when we found out that Xenoblade 1 was connected to Xenoblade 2. So maybe, I guess, people didn't realize how closely they were connected, but I mean, everything was laid out for us right there. And then it wasn't until DE where it was basically confirmed, where they changed Alvis's key to the actual goddamn Ontos core, the red Aegis core. I don't know how people still did not believe that Alvis was Ontos, even with the goddamn core crystal. And people say they were retconning that. That wasn't a retcon. I guess by definition it was, but people typically look at retcons with a negative connotation, and they're not always bad. Retcons aren't always a bad thing, and something like this, I think it was more just Monosoft trying to soft confirm it, not so much retcon, because obviously when Xenoblade 1 was being created, first of all, it wasn't even supposed to be a Xeno game in general, so I don't think they were trying to connect it to any other game. And again, Xenoblade 1 was being created. Xenoblade 2 hasn't even been thought of yet, because Xenoblade 1 was a brand new, it's a brand new project that just got bought out by Nintendo. Like, Monosoft just got bought out by Nintendo. They're making a whole new game to boost morale after the failure of Xenosaga. And Satoru Iwata came over and said, hey, yo, my guy Takahashi, make this a Xeno game. He was like, okay, I got you. So while they were in development for Xenoblade 1, they weren't even thinking about a Xenoblade 2, because this wasn't even a Xenoblade 1. Okay, and it wasn't until Xenoblade 2 came around they started developing that, then they started making connections back to Xenoblade 1. So they took what was there for Xenoblade 1 and tried to fit it into Xenoblade 2. And then when they made DE, they just gave Alvis the Ontos core to kind of just show that these games are connected. They didn't they didn't really consider making Alvis Ontos until Xenoblade 2, which I mean makes sense since the whole Trinity processor wasn't a thing until 2. But they were kind of planning on that the whole time while they're making Xenoblade 2, that Alvis, therefore Xenoblade 1, would be connected to 2. So, and I mean, how much more proof do you need other than the red Aegis core? That's kind of pissing me off. Like, how did people still not believe that Alvis was Ontos after all the evidence that we already had? Plus, he has the goddamn Aegis core right there. Those Aegis cores only appear in Xenoblade 2, and now here it is in Xenoblade 1. How the hell did that get there? Why does Alvis, of all people, the person that people already suspected to be Ontos, why does he have the Ontos core? Because he's fucking Ontos. It was right there the whole time. And then my favorite part of Future Redeemed. And Future Redeemed came around. My favorite part of Future Redeemed was like the whole talk after the Nael fight. It was either after or before, but the cutscene called Sisters, where Rex, Shulk, and A were all there together, and then they started discussing the Trinity processor. Numa is the female side, Malos is the male persona, and they just started talking about the Trinity processor. I love that. That's my favorite part. Anytime Xenoblade 2 is mentioned or something that originated from Xenoblade 2 was discussed, I was hyper focused. My favorite parts. But yeah, Future Redeemed came around, literally confirmed right there that Alvis is Ontos. Okay, they showed the Ontos core. Literally, Nael had the Ontos core. Alpha, I think they just outright said that Alpha is Ontos, right? Somewhere in the cutscene. But then it was outright said and confirmed right there in Future Redeemed. Then finally, people opened their eyes. See, that's the thing with Xeno. A lot of stuff in Xeno isn't outright said and confirmed. A lot of people won't believe something until it is directly told to them, which I can kind of understand since I'm that way too with some things, which I need to stop being that way. But sometimes things don't need to be explicitly said to be confirmed. All right, just like Mio being Nia's daughter, it was never outright said anywhere, but it's basically fact and confirmed at this point. All we need is Takashi to just say, yes, that's true. But at this point, it technically just already is true in canon. Like, it doesn't need to be outright said that that's the case. So, I mean, hey, I mean, look, that would just be like saying the Numa core inside Matthew's Fists of the End, that's not the actual Numa core from Xenoblade 2. That's something else. That could be Pyro and Mithra in there, but we don't know. Like, just because it's not outright said doesn't mean it's not true. I don't understand that. But the Alvis is Ontos theory, I think, is very, very interesting, and it's my favorite one, and it turned out to be fucking true. But I always thought it was the most interesting. I think it was like the biggest Xenoblade theory that there was, right? Other than 1 and 2 being connected. Once, I guess, some Xenoblade X stuff, since the Mechanis ring was there. Frontier Village was mentioned. So I guess Xenoblade X being like connected to 1 and 2 was the biggest theory. But other than that, the Ontos one, the Alvis one, was like the biggest, I guess, most believed and just most talked about theory in the series. And then it turns out to be true. I was so happy when Xenoblade or Future Redeemed was revealed and we saw Alvis there. I lost my mind. I was like, what the fuck? What is Alvis doing here? Why is he here? What is happening? Ontos? It was great. It was great. Just all the revelations from playing through Future Redeemed were amazing. Okay. Future Redeemed was probably my second best Xeno experience ever, obviously behind Xenoblade 2, since it was my first Xeno game. I didn't know what to expect. I came in completely blind in everything, so I had like the freshest experience with Xenoblade 2. Future Redeemed, I kind of already knew what to expect from it. It's a Xeno game. I kind of knew how Xeno games worked and how it would like pan out. But goddamn, bro, all the revelations about how Alvis is Ontos, A is also Alvis, okay, Rex and fucking Shulk being there, oh, Nael with the fucking A or Alvis fusion, the whole Klaus's world, the fucking radio, everything. Oh my, Future Redeemed was such an amazing game. Future Redeemed was such a perfect capstone to the entire trilogy, the numbered games. Such a perfect ending to the numbered series and that whole Klaus saga story. It was great. But the Alvis, I love the heavy the heavy focus on just Ontos in general in that game. It's amazing, especially since Ontos is my favorite Aegis out of the three. Him getting the most, Alvis getting the most like spotlight there, it was amazing. It was incredible. But yeah, the Alvis theory, Alvis's Ontos theory, I think was a pretty cool one. That was definitely the least stupid, that made the most sense, unlike fucking Dirk that has absolutely zero evidence. Maybe a couple pieces of evidence, but those are very, very circumstantial at best. But this one, yeah, this one was great. I love this one. If you couldn't tell, I got super excited talking about it. But yeah, that's really about it. So see you next mission and play some goddamn Xenoblade.